Welcome back to the channel. Let's have a discussion today about an issue Manchester United have seemingly got. In my opinion, we are getting stacked in one position more than others. And I think we saw the issue with that at weekend a little bit against Brighton. With the signing of Christian Eriksen confirmed, a proven top-class European and Premier League footballer, back at his best, I actually thought at weekend he was the one player that actually looked quality in a United shirt. It does spark a question. Do United have too many number 10s? Now, United need midfielders. I prefer the designation of 6, 8 and 10. 6 being your anchor man, 8 being more box-to-box, and 10 being the one with the creative kind of responsibilities. I know sometimes the 6 is called a 4 and blah, 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 but that's how I sort of designate my midfielders. I think we need 6s and 8s, good ones. But we've got 10s. Van der Beek, Fernandes, Eriksen. I wonder what Ten Hag's plan is going to be with all of these players. We've seen Pep Guardiola successfully integrate 2 10s in Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva. Because of the possession-heavy sort of style of play, he kind of gets away with that. Liverpool's midfield 3, even though it's the same shape, completely different functionalities of what's required of those sorts of players. 3 very functional, almost 3 8s at times. The 3 that Manchester United have got, though, those 3 sort of main protagonists then. Bruno, you would assume as first choice, certainly being the best post-Fergie signing United have made, certainly statistically. The impact of him in the 1920 January season compared at the time to that of Eric Cantona, and I don't do that lightly. His form's not there at the moment. Certainly nowhere near the heights that it was, but he's arguably our best player alongside Ronaldo and probably the first name on the team sheet. His best position's in the 10. Can he play 8? Yeah, probably. Could he play as a false 9? Probably. Not really seen it. But you assume with how high up he stacks, probably. There's not really a system player. I think he kind of very much a free spirit. We saw bits on tour where he was sort of adhering to the plan and he looked good. You know, honestly, I thought he was one that maybe benefit from Ten Hag coming in and putting a bit more structure around what he does and the runs that are going to be running off him. I'm sure he could thrive as the head of that sort of role. And he's lucky that he's got a manager that is accommodating of number 10s in the position, the 4-2-3-1, and the formation that he sort of lines up in. Again, his talent is high that he probably could fulfill a number of roles, including maybe being one of the wide players. But he's probably number 1 in the number 10. Against Brighton, he played a bit of a mix of being false 9 and in the 10. It seemed to be different, maybe when the ball was on different sides of the pitch, and it's quite an interesting way of looking at it. But I'd say he's still probably, if you've got a striker, he's likely to be the 10. Now, Christian Eriksen. Eriksen's probably played his best football in his career as a number 10. He's also played a lot as an 8. He's played predominantly as a 10 at Spurs, at Inter, and then last season at Brentford. And it seems like he's an excellent option, probably as backup or competition with Bruno in the 10. Bruno's injured, needs a night off. And it's vital that Bruno gets a night off and is rotated because we've previously run him into the ground and his form suffered on the back of that. Hasn't been a reliable option to bring off this bench despite having Jesse Lingard, Juan Mata, and numerous others at the club that could have fulfilled that role. Against Brighton, again, it was interesting because we saw both halves, the quality, the versatility of Eriksen, and because of the injuries and match fitness going on up front. He started the game really as a false 9 and also filled in as a 10 at times as well. He linked up really well with Bruno in the game. Often got into dangerous positions, but doesn't have the striker's instinct at the time when we were crossing the ball into areas. He just wasn't there. I'm not blaming him for that. It's just stating a fact. He wasn't there. He's not a striker, doesn't have those instincts. He's a creator. He works well outside the box. That's where he's so good. Second half, he was deployed a lot deeper, almost like a number 8 playmaker, certainly not a box-to-box destroyer, but a playmaker in the 8, just ahead of McTominay. And I thought that's interesting, as that's what I sort of, to a certain extent, thought is what De Jong is going to do. that deal seemingly not materialising, Eriksen's probably shown that he can do the job really well. And then Van der Beek. I've seen all sorts written and discussed and spoke about, and I actually asked Donny van der Beek myself when we interviewed him for 5, does he think he could play in the 6 as a deep line playmaker? He said yes. I think he's going to say yes anyway he wants, just to get a game. He's been at the club now under several managers, hasn't managed to establish himself. The manager that did manage to debut him and bring him through as a professional footballer is now at the club, and he still finds himself on the bench. It's got to be a hell of a predicament Donny van der Beek finds himself in. He signed with a lot of hope, struggled at United, 9 times out of 10 starts on the bench. When he has been substituted on or when he has been given a start, the impact is minimal. It's not been mind-blowing. He's not had anyone, well, I say he's not had anyone. He's not really cemented a place. There has been people clamouring for him to start just because he's not Freddie McTominay. I think the fact that another manager has come in and preferred them over him, he cannot be doing it in training. It's as simple as that. There's been too many people now prove that. Bit of an average loan spell at Everton. Very hopeful that his old manager could bring out the best of him, and he benched him. Whether or not that's a long-term thing or not, fact is, 1 out of 1. First time he was expected to get 3 points in the league, he benched him. That might change. He brought him on, obviously. He might have something in his mind for him, but the fact is he benched him. His best position at Ajax was the number 10 position. He did play in the 8 occasionally, and he did actually play in the 6 infrequently, very infrequently. But he played in the 10, and that was where he was best. Donny is good receiving the ball in tight spaces, which what makes him a good 10. And he's got pretty good one-touch link-up play, which is another trait of a number 10. And he did say in the interview that he did with 5 that he can play in the 6 or the 8, but he's never really been tried out in that role at United. Against Brighton, I think it's very telling about how this might work out. Brighton showed us that under the circumstances, Bruno is going to be the number 10 under Ten Hag. It suggested that Eriksen is probably going to be a little bit of a utility player, come in and add some genuine quality to the team when the first choice players aren't available, and I don't know who those first choice players are right now, and I'm hoping there's actually someone comes in that isn't McTominay to be a first choice player in that area. I think he's going to come in and provide whatever's needed on the day. You've got a ton of different options. I think it's key. Eriksen's proved he can play probably as a 6, 8 or 10 in this position. Donny has yet to establish whether he can play as a 6 or an 8. And I think Ten Hag knows what he can do in the 10. I don't think Bruno could play much deeper. And this isn't including some of the youngsters that we've got that play in these positions. United need to make some decisions in a big way. I think Fred's a functional number 8 that could play. I don't think he's a 10, even though he did play as an attacking midfielder at Shakhtar. I don't think he's a serviceable number 10. I think if you're looking for silkiness, Fred's not that. He's all action. He can press, he can tackle, and can run around. He's not the one for silkiness in and around the D. Eriksen, Bruno, and even Donny have got that in spades. I wonder, is Donny even in Ten Hag's plans? Because signing Eriksen, to me, playing him in the positions that you expect Donny to feature in, I'm genuinely not sure. You guys let me know in the comments. Have we got too many first team, first choice number 10s? Or do you think there's another player at work here that I'm not seeing just yet? Let me know in the comments. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.